Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Takedown Troop. This is your weekly TNA Wrestling post show here at BC WrestlePod. My name is Mikey, and once again, I'm going to be rocking it solo this week for TNA. And we are 3 weeks out from Lockdown, TNA's next pay per view, in which every match that is going to be on Lockdown is going to be a steel cage match. So it's going to be really good. This is going to be a quick review as this was one of those live episodes. So once again, TNA for some reason wants to give us like between the live stuff, like promos that don't really make it the episode. Well, they do, but they don't really play a part to the actual TV episode itself and overhanging shots. But honestly, this is a pretty good episode. There was a lot of wrestling. There's some, setup for lockdown, and that is going to be a lot of fun to talk about. So, y'all already know the drill. You know where you can find us go live. We have social medias, merch, help us pay for pay per views on our little coffee bot. Let's just get into this because I got a lot to talk about. So, we are covering the Thursday, July 30th edition of TNA. And so we kick things off this week with a tag team match. It seems that we are going to be we're going to be making Leon Slater and Ricky Sosa a tag team moving forward, which I'm okay with. I think these two are really good. And honestly, Leon Slater and Ricky Sosa being familiar with each other and the independents in the Europe is fantastic. So this should be fun. And they were taking on the system with our X Division champion, Cedric Alexander and Eddie Edwards. I thought this was a really fun way to open up the show. Really exciting stuff. Crowd is really behind Ricky Sosa and Leon Slater as they should be. This was a lot of fun. I think that everyone in this match worked very well together. There was some really cool high flying offense. There were some good tag team maneuvers for Leon and Ricky. So that's a lot of fun to see as well. But the most important thing to come out of this match in particular is that Leon Slater would pick up the victory for him and Ricky by pinning the X Division champion, Cedric Alexander, in this match. And post match, Leon Slater cuts a promo in the ring telling, him and everyone in the arena, as well as all of us at home, that because Leon Slater pinned Cedric Alexander, we all know what that means. Leon Slater is going to get a championship match for the X Division championship, but to add stakes to it and up the ante, Leon Slater would challenge Cedric Alexander to that X Division championship match at Lockdown. So this match is going to be happening in a cage. I think it's going to be great. I think Cedric and Leon are really great. They have good chemistry together. And yeah, honestly, this was a really fun match, and I'm looking forward to that X Division match. So after our opening bout, we cut backstage where Mustafa Ali is backstage with the Secret Service, Mila Moore, and John Schuyler. And essentially, in this backstage promo, Mustafa Ali tells Mila Moore that he wants all of Order 4 at ringside for his international championship match, but he doesn't want anyone to get involved. So we already know what's going to happen. This is setting up our main event in which Mustafa Ali will be defending the title against his Order 4 member, Jason Hodge. And we're going to talk about that match when we get to the main event. Now, we cut backstage and we go to our commentary team of Tom Hannafan and the Drama King, Matthew Raywald. And it is during this little portion of the show that they send their well wishes and regards to former TNA knockout Rebel. For those of you who are unaware, Rebel has been diagnosed with ASL. No, ALS. Sorry, my bad. ASL is American Sign Language. No, so she's been diagnosed with a terminal illness. And so the last couple of weeks, a lot of the wrestling world and AEW has been doing Ice Bucket Challenge in order to be able to, raise awareness and do all this stuff for Rebel. And TNA has took the time out of their episode to wish Rebel well and all that good stuff. So I love to see it. It's really nice, and the wrestling world loves Rebel, and we love her. Now, after this little moment, though, we get into our next match of the evening, which is the Knockouts Television Tournament, which is Indy Hartwell versus NXT star Thea Hale. I thought this was a really fun match, although it not like very short in terms of the match length, but I had a good time with it. I'm really happy to see Indy get some action again after we were in this weird triple threat, whirlwind that involved her and Mara Sade and Elena Black for the last couple of months. But honestly, it's great. And I love Thea. Now she's doing more in NXT with her. And, I love Thea. I'm happy that she's doing more now in NXT because it seems that her and Jada are pairing up. But this was nice to see Thea. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if Thea would stay here in TNA for a little bit because I really do like her. I think she's really great. And, honestly, I think she's fantastic, man. But Indy Hartwell would win this match. She's moving on. Commentary made it a point to say that TNA stars, the TNA knockouts, want a TNA knockout to hold this title, not an NXT star, which, is true given over the last year or so. But really fun match. Indy Hartwell wins. She will be moving on to the next round of the tournament. Backstage, we see AJ Francis collecting money for Expressions as he is in the hospital. So AJ Francis is collecting money to help Expressions pay his medical bills. But, you know, he runs into BDE and Rich Homie Swan, and they tell him that no, that Expressions got what's coming to him. They ain't gonna donate. And AJ Francis, is admonishing them and then walks off. So once again, AJ is doing what AJ does best. I think whatever they're giving him, he rolls with it, and I appreciate that in AJ. But we're going to talk about him a little bit later because we're still in the vortex of what's to come at Lockdown, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Next up, we have an in-ring promo from Casey Navarro. Casey, reflects on his match against Nick Nemeth for the TNA knockout, not TNA knockouts, the TNA World Championship last week, in which I touted was a making performance for Casey. And that was some good stuff. Honestly, this promo is really good. I said last week that Casey Navarro, that match was a star making performance. And honestly, outside of Leon Slater, I honestly think that TNA has a really strong babyface in Casey Navarro. I do think that his mic work needs a little bit more of a polish. But with Mike Santana officially gone from the company and now in NXT, you need to have the next babyface ready. And Leon Slater and Casey Navarro are the two that are at the top of my list personally, as far as babyface who could become world champions. But he is interrupted by the system, who tell that nobody's here to listen to Casey after he'd lost. Results matter and all that stuff. The system tried to attack 4-on-1 style with Casey, but then you have Leon, Ricky, and Fabian Eichner come in for the save. So it seems that we're going to have those 8 interact in sub capacity over the next couple of weeks, which I'm okay with. And like I said, I think this promo, while nothing groundbreaking, it really continues to further to establish Casey Navarro as a top babyface, which I feel like TNA desperately needs right now. And I think him and Leon and Ricky Sosa right now are your big 3 young baby faces that you need to develop and get ready to push because they're going to be holding it down for TNA for the next year or two. After this promo, though, we cut backstage really quickly because for some reason, Bunny, Allie cannot find Rosemary, and they have their Knockouts Tag Team Championship match coming up shortly. And so Daria tells Allie that if she cannot find Rosemary, she's going to have to forfeit the championships. So I don't know where's Rosemary. I don't know if there was some real life stuff that happened or if it's part of a storyline, but Allie is without a partner and if she doesn't find Rosemary before the match, she will not, the titles will be forfeit. But speaking of titles, we cut backstage with, Gia Miller, our lovely backstage correspondent, as she's interviewing TNA Knockouts champion Zaya Brookside. And Zaya basically says that she admonishes Elena Black, saying that Elena is the best, but she's not. And so NXT's Wendy Chu comes up and she talks to Zaya and she tells Zaya, I originally wasn't supposed to be here this evening, but I have a bone to pick with you. And I appreciate you attacking me next week. And if you say that you're the best, so put that championship on the line. And so Santino makes it official that next week it will be Zaya Brookside versus NXT's Wendy Chu for the TNA Knockouts Championship. Elena Black comes in towards the end of this, backing Wendy Chu up, and Zaya leaves. Don't know if we're making Elena Black a babyface now, but I'm okay with it either way. And honestly, again, like I said with Thea Hale, I would like to see Wendy Chu actually become a TNA Knockout full time because I think she would be great here. But that's neither here nor there. Next week, we get Zaya versus Wendy for the title. Next up, we have our TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Championship match, but it's not the way that you think. Allie could not find Rosemary, but she was able to convince Daria Ray to allow her to go 2-on-1 with this. And this match went with what you would expect. So the Elegance brand gets an advantage. Allie hulks out and, comes back. The concierge, George Iceman, and Mr. Elegance try to get involved. Allie hits them with the title and thus also hits the Elegance girls with the title, causing the disqualification. And that means that the Elegance brand win the match, but because it was caused by a DQ, Allie and Rosemary retain the championships, and a whole brawl breaks out. So it is what it is. I don't know what happened to Rosemary. I don't know if she wasn't able to be a part of the show, if there's a storyline of to explain her absence, but talk more about them a little bit later in the show. So the Hardys come out and they talk about how they're the goats of tag team wrestling. They, talk briefly about the Righteous Deletion match that we saw last week, beating the Righteous, but they are interrupted by Nick and Ryan Nemeth. They go back and forth, and ultimately, the most important thing to come out of this exchange between the four of them is that at TNA Lockdown, we will have the World Tag Team Championships on the line as the Hardys will be defending the titles against the Nemeths inside a steel cage. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, so Nick is not. What this means is Nick is probably not going to be defending that World Championship at Lockdown, but it is what it is. I can't complain with it at this point. Okay, I guess. I'm gonna be honest, you guys. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of the Hardys with the tag team championships because they have beaten every single tag team under the sun here in TNA. They don't need the championships anymore. But again, I don't work for the company. I don't book for them. But this match should still be pretty fun because anything inside a cage is going to be fun because I'm a sicko and I have a propensity for violence. But it should be fun. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier. I swear I thought we were done with AJ Francis and Elijah after Elijah won his match against AJ and got the rights to everything back at Slammiversary. But apparently that is not the case because AJ Francis is still upset with Elijah and he blames him for expressions being in the hospital and everything that has happened. So Elijah also still got beef with AJ. So while we don't have an official graphic quite yet, it seems that we're going to be getting AJ and Elijah at a match at Lockdown. So again, at TNA Lockdown, if you do not know, every single match is inside a steel cage. So even though we didn't get an official graphic, it seems that we're heading towards AJ versus Elijah at Lockdown. And I'm just hoping that this is the end of the feud. Like we've been going on. This feud has been going on since the beginning of this year in January. Like we're done. I feel like there's nothing else for us to pull from here, but whatever. Let's keep going. Santino and Daria are backstage, and so Daria makes it official that at Lockdown, the Knockouts tag team titles are also going to be on the line at Lockdown. So Allie and Rosemary will be defending the titles against the Elegance brand. But more importantly, too, Daria says that they need to trim the roster, and Harley Hudson is at the top of the list to be cut. And I don't know if this was of Daria's own volition or this is what she was told to say, but with TNA and the way that there's like very limited talent left in their roster right now, with lots of people being asked to be released from their contracts and being granted said release. I don't like that they're playing this into a storyline, and hope it's not true that Harley is looking to leave because we have no big powerhouses in the knockouts division right now. It is bare bones because all we have is the Elegance brand. We have Rosemary and Allie. We have Zaya, Lee, and Elena and Indy. And then supposedly, I don't know if we're still going to hold Mara, if we're going to still have Mara Sade because her contract expired. Jody Threat is still here too, but we really don't have a lot of people left. So I really hope this is not an actual thing because I would be sad. But I hate that we're using that as a storyline given the fact of how much talent TNA has lost since the beginning of this year, and it's not great. Anyways, moving on. Like I said, we get that match. Jody Threat versus Jada Stone is next for in the Knockouts TV Championship match. This is a really fun one. I thought this was a good back and forth. Jada continues to impress as the newer one on the roster. Jody Threat is fantastic as well. Jada steals a win from Jody here by doing a surprise roll up. So Jada Stone moves on to the next round, and yeah, there's not much to talk. Main event time. Told you this was going to be a quick episode. This is my favorite match of the entire night. This is for the TNA International Championship. Mustafa Ali versus his Order 4 member, Jason Hodge. Really good stuff. Really had a good time with all of this. This was super fun. Holy crap, the athleticism was great. Y'all need to go watch this. This is definitely worth a watch. My favorite match of the night. Towards the end, Mustafa Ali puts his feet on the rope to try to get an illegal pin win, but Tasha Steelz pushes the feet off the rope. Her and Mila Moore get into a fight, which causes all the Order 4 and the security guards to go head to the back. And Jason Hodge pulls out the victory, man. Your winner and new TNA International Champion, Jason Hodge. My goodness, this is a good match. I'm so happy to see Jason Hodge with the title. Yeah, this was a good match. I have nothing else to say. No, it's easily my favorite match of the night. And that's it for me for the TNA post show here tonight. Again, a little bit of a quick one. I didn't want to waste a lot of time because it's a pretty straightforward episode. Again, we are 3 weeks away from lockdown, so that should be a really fun pay per view. And we'll be here to talk about it afterwards as well. But we have reached the end of our regular post shows this week. And all that's left is tomorrow and Sunday, we'll be doing a live watch along of WWE's SummerSlam. So it should be a good time. But that's going to be it for us here at BC WrestlePod. From all of us here to you at home, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We'll catch you tomorrow or this weekend for some fun stuff for our SummerSlam watch along. But until then, and until next time, peace.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.